Hi, Gene Burnett from geneburnett.com. I'm doing this one at home today with my webcam, so it's not easy for me to look at the camera. It's easy for me to look at the screen, but it doesn't maybe look like I'm looking at you. I don't know. I'm new to this. But I thought I'd do a little video today at home talking about a new sort of practice focus or practice mantra, if you will, that's really working for me super well. Like if you know my teaching, or if you're one of my students, or you've read my book, or you know a little bit about the way I approach Tai Chi, um, I sort of see Tai Chi in general as basically the synthesis or the reconciliation of opposites. This is just Tai Chi, the concept of Tai Chi. So you see the yin yang symbol behind my head, right there. um, the yin yang symbol is, the white and black circle in complementary motion, with each with the seeds of the other inside it. So it's basically about synthesizing or reconciling opposites. And those opposites can be hard and soft, yin and yang, masculine, feminine, right, left, blue, red, um, wild, civilized, competitive, cooperative. Anytime there's a polarity, Tai Chi would be the study of how to reconcile them into a dynamic conversation. It's not about the victory of the dark or the victory of the light. It's about a dynamic conversation between the two. So it's not, if it's not saying that either side should run the show. It's saying they both should run the show in a complementary kind of dynamic conversation. Um, uh, Speaking politically, the left and the right, big divide in this country, each side thinking that every position from dog catcher to president should be blue or red. Um, the rights of the individual are always primary. The rights of the collective are always primary. The Tai Chi way of looking at it would be that these things need to be in a complementary conversation, and that sometimes the needle needs to move a little left and sometimes right, but basically you're trying to reconcile and balance and coordinate together the right mix. Where along the dial of collective and individual rights does the needle need to go now for the issue at hand now, as opposed to we're always right, they're always wrong, we're always good, they're always evil. So Tai Chi would be the reconciliation. Tai Chi Chuan, the martial art Tai Chi Chuan, when you put Chuan in it, the fist or boxing element of it, that means simply that you're trying to reconcile the opposites in a martial context, whether that's just using the solo form, the basic training, and the some of the partner drills as a personal exercise, a personal training to help you balance the reconcile the opposites in your own body, um, just for daily life and for maybe the possibility of self-defense, or taking it all the way to serious combative levels. You're trying to find the soft in the hard and the hard in the soft, so that when you're hard, there's softness within that. When you're soft and yielding, there's firmness within that, as your body uh, uh, shifts its yin-yang balance in order to maintain equilibrium. Tai Chi Chuan is a martial study of reconciling opposites. Tai Chi itself is a universal study of that, or training in that. So within that work, like within the practice of Tai Chi Chuan, I like to break the work up into 4 levels, and those levels are bone, muscle, for lack of a better word, energy, although nervous system is what I really mean there, and then spirit. So the bone level of work is attending to the basics of your art. If it's playing an instrument, it's learning the individual notes. If it's doing Tai Chi, it's postural principles, making sure that you're in the right position, alignment, putting your skeleton, your bones in the right place. It's about what are you doing. If it's a recipe, it's about following it to the letter, right? If you're driving a car, it's about the rules of the road, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, all the basic stuff. When that's kind of more or less settled, and that's just a level of work. You can work on basics anytime that you're studying anything for the rest of your life. It's not like you get over this work. The next level of it was what I call muscle level work, is finding a smooth, relaxed balance between too much tension and too little tension. It's just about smoothing everything out, really about relaxing and letting go of extra tension. So if that's a recipe, you're following the recipe, but not slavishly. You know it pretty well. You're looking at it, but you're not freaked out about it. Rules of the road are kind of casual. You're loosening up your sense of the rules of the road and how they relate to driving. If it's a piece of music, you're playing the notes smoothly. You're trying to take the speed bumps out of it. You're trying to take the tension out of it. If it's a Tai Chi movement, instead of just making sure that the movement is in the right place, you're also paying attention to the softness and the relaxation within the movement, trying to make sure that your movements are as efficient as possible. It's just, usually it feels heavy and soft and downward, whereas the bone level feels light and held. You're putting your skeleton in place, the muscle level feels soft and kind of heavy. Now, where those levels are bridged, is in the joints. And that's where your nerves run through the joints. That's where the traffic jams are. That's where the impingements and problems are with nerves usually. And you have basically, in this looking at movements and stuff, you basically have motor nerves which contract muscles and move you actively through space. And then you have sensory nerves which bring information to your brain from all of your senses. The temperature of the room comes to you through sensory nerves. The surface of the ground, where you are in space, everything you feel in the movement comes through the sensory nerves. So in the energy level or the nervous system level, we try to suspend the joints so they're not held like they might be in the muscle level, and they're not soft and heavy like they might be, or slack like they might be in the muscle level. They're kind of floating a bit and ready to go in any direction. This is also where we connect to the breath. And this is where we connect to the intent of the movement. What's the intent of the entire movement? Are you hitting? Are you striking? Are you deflecting? Are you neutralizing? What's the purpose? Are you expanding? Are you contracting? Intent can be really healthy kind of focus, or it can be a really martial kind of focus, but it's the guiding idea of the movement. And that kind of ties those two levels together a bit. It's where the bones and the muscles meet, is through the joints, right? So, and then the spirit level is when you're just one with what you're doing, when you're in the zone and you're just doing it. That level I don't really work on or teach much. I distrust people who claim to be able to teach that, because when you're in that level, you're not really there. So who's teaching it and who's learning it? I don't know. That level to me just comes and goes as it will. If you practice the other levels, every once in a while you'll just be in the moment, just being with exactly what you're doing, and then you notice it, and that breaks the spell, and you're not doing it anymore. So the other three levels are the main ones I actively work with. Put my bones in place, relax and soften the muscles, float the joints a little bit, connect to my breath and intent, and what am I doing here. The new kind of focus that I have applies, it's not, I don't know how new it is, but it's at least new to me. And this is something that I've worked with over time and has crystallized for me lately. This applies to any of these levels of work, and it applies to anything you're doing, literally anything you're doing. And there's just three sort of ways of looking at this, or ways of focus. And the ways are simply doing, feeling, and being. And the way I put it is, I put it in the form of an imperative, like a command. Like if I was a teacher, I would be talking to myself. And what I'm saying to myself is, first, do it. So while I'm doing the movement, I might say to myself, just simply do it, which means I focus on doing it correctly, whatever level I'm working on, whether it's the muscle level, the bone level, the energy level, whatever I'm doing. When I tell myself to do it, what I'm focusing on is the execution of the putting myself in the right place at the right time to do the thing that I want to do. It could be washing the dishes. It could be riding my bike. It could be walking, right? It could be anything where I'm focused on the objective of what I'm doing, and I'm focusing on the doing aspect of it. So if I'm walking, I'm focusing on efficient, good posture and getting to where I want to go as quickly as possible, which means chest up, core engaged, legs solid, covering space and going where I'm going to go, right? So feel it. When I tell myself to feel it, I shift my focus from my objective, from where I'm going, from what I'm doing, to how does it feel inside my body? What does it feel like? An easy little trick that I've learned is just to pretend that my eyes are closed, whether they are or not, and just focus in on the sensations of my body. How does my shirt feel on my body, my feet on the ground, my pants, my waist, the internal feelings, my breathing, everything that's going on, all the sensations that are internal, subjective to how this feels, right? So I focus on feeling. So if I'm walking, instead of being very objective and walking where I'm going, now I'm subjective. I'm focusing on how it feels internally. So it slows me down, right? It slows me down, and I start paying attention to sensation, and I'm more aware of what's going on, and I might be a little bit more noticing of what's going on around me as opposed to what's in front of me. So when I say feel it, after having said do it, I shift internal awareness this way, and I end up slowing down. So imagine you're walking along a path, or better yet, running along a path, and you're trying to get to your objective as quickly and as efficiently as possible, very doing oriented. Suppose you pass a stretch of rose bushes, let's say, on the sides. Can you run past those roses and still smell them? Not really, not much, not much. You might catch a few whiffs, but the problem is we don't have enough bandwidth. And when you're really taking in a feeling, when you're really taking in sensory information, you need to slow down in order to do it. If you're dancing at a party and somebody starts whispering to you, the first thing you do is stop dancing. You need to slow down and concentrate your attention on the input. So if you really want to smell the roses, you have to stop. You have to stop completely and smell the roses, right? You have to stop to do that. So when you feel things, the speed slows down and the focus goes internally, or at least I feel that way. I feel like everything centers inward. So if I'm doing, I might be very kind of mechanically focused like that. But if I'm into the feeling of it, I'm like, what does it feel like to do that movement? It slows me down. Often, feeling level, when I go to that feeling level, it will actually correct my posture a little bit and give me cues about what doesn't feel, what doesn't work about this movement. It'll show me where I'm inefficient. If I'm, for instance, doing a movement like the repulse monkey, if I go back like this, I feel this. I'm reaching behind myself. Whereas if I turn my waist more and let it come here, it's just like I'm making a snow angel. It's right at my side, not reaching behind me. So the feeling can give me clues into how to do it better, how to have better posture and better alignment, etc. So they're a bit at odds with each other. The more I'm feeling, the less I'm doing. The more I'm doing, the less I'm feeling. We just don't have the bandwidth in our brains to focus on both of those things completely at high levels at the same time. You can't smell the roses as fully as you can while you're running down the pathway, and you can't run down the pathway as smoothly and effectively as you want to and still smell the roses, right? So the first thing I do when I'm, practicing lately is I just start with do it. And whatever I'm doing, I have a doing focus. And then after a little while, if that's feeling good, I shift into feeling and I tell myself, feel it. And so my attention goes inward and I'm feeling what I'm doing more. Now the third focus changes everything. I call it be it. And when I say be it, what I mean to myself is how, going back to the walking roses metaphor and stuff, how slow can I walk and still get where I'm going and have enough sensory input that I can smell the roses. I'm not trying to smell the roses completely because that would stop me. And I'm not trying to be totally focused on my objective because that would cancel out the roses. But I'm in between the two, right? So I'm going, how fast can I walk and still smell the roses? How slow can I walk and still get where I want to go? So it's a balance of the two, again, the reconciling of opposites, the reconciling of the dynamic tension between those two. And I find that it creates a third state that is not either one of them. So to go to the metaphor of the walking, when I'm walking, my chest is up and I'm really going for it. I'm sorry, when I'm doing, right? When I'm feeling, I can't afford to have all those motor nerves firing and all that stuff going on. I let go of my chest a little bit, things settle a little bit. I'm down in here and I'm feeling what's going on in my body. If I shift to being, I'll find that I'm halfway between the two. My chest is lifted, but not as lifted as it could be. My core is engaged, but not as engaged as it could be, because I might have to go sideways or change what I'm doing, right? So I'm walking, but not as fast as I could walk. I'm smelling the roses, but not as slowly as I could walk. I'm not as anything as I could be. I'm right in the middle because I'm much more open to change. I'm much more open to things shifting and going a different direction. So I'm trying to find a third state that includes doing. It includes feeling, but it's its own third state that's different. Now, bone level work, attention to posture and what you're doing, lends itself to um, doing. But you can also notice how you feel while you're doing bone level work. Muscle level work, relaxation and finding a balance of the muscular tension in your body, that lends itself to feeling. Feeling really helps you there, but you can also look at what you're doing when you are relaxed. You can ask yourself while you're relaxing and doing muscle level work, how can I do this better? What are the components of relaxation? And you can look at each one and say, am I doing that? It's just that muscle level work, it lends itself to feeling. It just does. The energy level or the nervous system level of Tai Chi, that lends itself to being, because just as being is a reconciliation or a kind of synthesis of doing and feeling, the energy level or the nervous system level of work reconciles the bones and the muscles. So they're not exactly synonymous. You can look at how to do energy level work. Are your joints suspended? Is your breath in the right place? Or are you feeling the proper intent of the given movement that you're doing? You can also look at the feeling of that joint level, nervous system, energy level work. How does it feel in your body to have your joints suspended or to have this particular intent or that? But it just lends itself naturally to being. So really you could have 9 states or 9 kind of ways of doing this. You have bone level, doing, feeling, being. You have muscle level, doing, feeling, being. You have energy level or nervous system level, doing, feeling, being. You can look at it as that's kind of complicated. But what I do in my actual practice is I'm running through a form and I just say to myself, do it. And I'm concentrating on doing in mechanics. After a little while, I'll change. I'll be doing it and then I'll say, okay, feel it. And then I slow down and I feel for a while. When that's feeling pretty good, I might tell myself, okay, be it. And I try to find the difference, the kind of the balance between the two. And that's really wonderful. The thing is that the being level, doing it with the be it focus, is like a slippery, rounded slope. It's so easy to fall off of. It's really easy to break that spell. The minute my mind wanders, the minute something doesn't feel great, the minute my balance is a little off, the minute something distracts me or changes something, that state is, if not gone, buffeted or kind of challenged. So anytime a movement doesn't feel good or anytime I notice that my mind has wandered or whatever, I usually won't try to get back to being. I'll start over again, do it, and I'll focus on execution. Then I'll shift to feel it and I'll focus on how does it feel. And then I'll find that being balance again for as long as I can do it. And it's really changed my practice for the better. Every practice is more challenging as well as more rewarding. My camera is getting out of focus. There we go. It's more challenging, it's more rewarding, and having those focuses of those phrases helps me pay attention to what I'm doing in my body and gives it a purpose or direction that it doesn't have when I'm not doing that. So I'm really, really, really enjoying this. Sometimes I've gone over the whole form and it's taken me a very long time to do it. It's a very slow but rewarding practice, I'll just take each individual movement and I'll say, do it. I'm taking a step down there, but I'll take that step and say, do it until it feels good. And then I'll say, feel it until it feels good. And then I'll say, be it. And then I'll move to the next position, whatever that is. And then I'll say, do it, feel it, be it. And I'll go over every single movement in the form over and over a few times each movement, kind of sort of working it over and ironing it out with the three imperatives. Or I'll just do one movement, do it, one movement, feel it, one movement, be it. Or I'll just do it till it feels right, 3 or 4 or 5 movements, and then I'll say, okay, feel it. And I'll do the feeling version for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and then I'll say, be it. And of course, anytime my mind wanders or I lose focus or if something feels a little funny in a kick or something, or I'm 62 years old, I'm not a kid, and my ankles have a lot of wear and tear on them. My right ankle was badly sprained as a little kid, so it's never been really steady. So some days it's a little more tender, a little more off than others, and I get up on that leg and I might feel a little off balance, and I go right back to do it. Do it, do it, do it. Then I shift to feeling, and then I shift to being, and I've got both. So it's been a really, really productive and a powerful tool for me. I do it in every practice, in every exercise. I do it when I'm walking. I do it. The language is kind of limited here. I do it. I do doing, feeling, being when I'm washing the dishes. Try it. Just anytime you're doing anything at all in your life, just tell yourself, like you were your own teacher, do it. And when you hear the words do it, focus on execution, if it's washing the dishes or whatever. And then after a little while, say feel it, and notice the temperature of the water, notice the shift of your weight, where's your balance, and what's going on, how are you doing this, and how does it feel to do this. And then just switch to be it, so that you are one with the dishes, man, be the ball, as they used to say in Caddyshack. But it's like, really, be what you're doing. Be what you're feeling. Reconcile doing and feeling. So you become closer to the Tai Chi ideal, which is behind my head. That way? No, it's that way. No, it's that way. There it is. Everything's mirror image in these damn things. Right there. There it is. So that's how, that to me is a way to work the philosophy of Tai Chi into this thing. So you work the philosophy into it, and in a living way. You're reconciling doing and feeling, just like you're reconciling yin and yang, just like you're reconciling stability and mobility, just like you're reconciling bone and muscle. All the things that are apparently opposite, you're bringing them together in your body by letting that oscillation happen naturally. Do it, feel it, be it. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate it. I hope this shifting focus of the webcam, whoa! I hope that's not too distracting. This is my first Tai Chi video at home using this thing. I wish I could stabilize that focus so it would stop doing that, but every time I move, it does a little autofocus thing there. So, well, I thank you for watching. I appreciate this. If you like this kind of thing, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do a lot of music videos, Tai Chi videos, and nature videos, and other types of stuff, or you can also visit geneburnett.com. Thank you for watching.